Hi guys, Detroit Alley Cat will be here in a second. Just 2 seconds.
Steph with some, just keep saying hi to everybody.
Hi.
Oh my god, why is it opening? Alright, what Davidian shall I wear today?
We're a little late today,
That hurt.
but that's okay.
Alright, everyone needs to settle down. I can hear you. Do we have people watching?
There was one, but I don't know if it's accurate.
Alright, we're almost there soon. Keep talking.
How is everyone today?
You're a natural.
Very good at this.
What?
I'm very good at this.
You are. I can't. Okay.
She's almost here. She's coming.
Sam, stop it. We got that working.
Yeah.
Whew.
Yeah.
Hey everybody, it's Detroit Alley Cat. Welcome back to our show. Sorry I was late. Had to, Anyway, I'm so excited to see you guys. I'm really geeked because we're going to talk about something really interesting, something that I find it really odd, but people have said they have not heard about, just like the last one, Jim Jones. And I thought that was strange. It has been one crazy week. How has everybody else been? So here is the deal. I'm going to test this on Facebook just to see if you guys can see us. You can stare at Sam's pretty face. She's pretty good. You didn't do it where it can take 60 seconds. Okay, you did it a lot. Okay. Here, we're gonna just make sure everyone can see us. Hi, everyone. Boop. Now, if you hear things in the background, that is because my dogs are going crazy. I apologize. I can't do anything about it. All right, so let's go on to Facebook and tell everybody that we are on there. All right. Whew. We don't have anybody on here right now, so that kind of makes this easy, right, Sam? Bam, bam. All right, first we're going to go on Facebook and be like, hey, we're up. And I will always love you. Sorry. Ooh, I see a person who's lurking. I see you. Hey, everybody. This is Detroit Alley Cat. Ooh, did I get it? This is Detroit Alley Cat, and we are live on our podcast on YouTube. So feel free to come on in and talk to us. Today we are talking about Waco, Texas, and the Branch Davidians and what I think is a cult. So remember, go to YouTube and look for Detroit Alley Cat, and we'll be there waiting for you. So, bye. It always doesn't let me finish, and it's like this awkward, weird moment where I'm just sitting here. Do something. Okay, rotate your device. Let's just click that. That was weird, right, guys? And then the first thing that happens when I get on YouTube is my nose starts running. because that's how it goes, I guess. All right, now I'm just going to go on YouTube to make sure that we can be seen. And then we'll do it. So thank you for being patient with us. It's been kind of a day. I think I said that. Is there ever not a day like right now, like with the whole Ukraine and Russian thing going on? Like, I mean, we should be feeling lucky we're not there, but it's still kind of stressful to watch. What do you think, Bam Bam? Do you think that's stressful to watch?
Yeah, it's sad.
It's very sad. I feel very bad. Okay, there we are. That's weird. Okay, cool. All right, so I'm going to just go ahead and look up the information. Oh my goodness. So if you are watching, hello, Joshua. Please give us a thumbs up. We're going to have a goal today of getting 100 thumbs up. And so if you can just go right to that little thumb and give us a thumbs up. What do you mean, am I okay? I'm always okay. Are you okay, Joshua? All right, I'll do it. Thank you. He said, I ate. Is that what you meant to say? I ate. So, Joshua, have you ever heard of Waco, Texas, and the Branch Davidians? This is a really important question. Let's see here. I'm going to pull it up. Waco, Branch Davidians. And yes, I guess I'm okay. And I have. Well, kind of. Well, then that's good. I'm glad you are okay. And I'm going to tell you the story of David Koresh and the Branch Davidians. Because, so this is the thing. Like, I like study cults. I don't know. They really interest me. Like, just the whole thing. I probably said that last time. Did I say that last time? Or was I alone?
You were alone.
I was all alone.
I was with my grandma.
Oh, so I find it very interesting. Like, they intrigue me. Cults intrigue me. And I've been talking about them because I work at different haunted houses. And, I talk about like cults or different true crime things. And yes, I would totally do Son of Sam. That is actually something I would be into. Well, hello, Natasha Dean, Bulgarian spy. This is like a joke between me and Natasha Dean. And so we're at the place, or we're with my friends, and we're talking about, these things, and people are like, I've never heard of it. And recently people were, she goes, oh my God, Bulgarian spy. You thought, oh, I thought that was Tyr. That's a teddy bear. So people were like, I haven't ever heard of the Branch Davidians in Waco, Texas. And I just think that is like crazy to me, because that was like one of the biggest things that happened. It involved the ATF. It was really effed up, if you ask me. And I think that the things that happened are really messed up. So I'm going to give you guys a prelude to the Branch Davidian siege. That's what we'll call it, the siege. So there was an event called Ruby Ridge. Now, I'm not going to have all the information in front of me because we're going to be focusing on Waco, Texas, and the Branch Davidians. But so the Ruby Ridge incident, let me see if I can at least find his name, because that's important. I can't find his name. I'm not very prepared today. I've been doing a lot of stuff, and unfortunately, I am kind of winging it. But like Waco, Texas, I'm like pretty good on. It's just that Ruby Ridge has names and stuff that I can't like. All right, we're just going to go through it. So Ruby Ridge it was a house, and this man, he was prior military. Can't believe the ATF was involved. Yes, they were involved. It was really bad, actually, Joshua. So the Ruby Ridge is this house, okay? And they called it Ruby Ridge. I don't know why it's called Ruby Ridge. It was up like in the mountains. I believe it was in Virginia or whatever. And this man who was prior military decided that he was going to live off the grid. And for those of you who don't know, off the grid is just like basically straight up off the grid. Like they don't want any of the government to know where you are. You don't want your grandpa to know where you are. Maybe grandpa, but you don't want people to know where you are. Sometimes I wish I was off the grid. And so he takes his wife and I believe it was like, God, it was like 3 or 4 kids and a couple of dogs, and they move in this house. And the thing is this man buys guns. And for some reason, it caught the attention of the ATF. And I don't know why. Oh, okay. I remember why. So this man had a traffic ticket and he did not appear in court or pay the ticket because he was living off the grid. So how is he supposed to get the ticket, right? And the man had also, there was a background of him going to these like Second Amendment rallies, these places. Oh, Ruby Ridge was in Idaho. Gotcha. Sorry. I'm kind of winging it with Ruby Ridge. Well, you know what's up then, don't you, Joshua? If you knew it was in Idaho. Okay, so it's in Idaho, not Virginia. And so he had not paid his traffic ticket and he didn't show up in court, but he had been going to these rallies or these meetings, these old men that like to talk about guns and Second Amendment rights and a fellowship of, backwood militiamen, kind of. And so it was rumored that there were KKK involvement in these groups. Now, it couldn't have been proved, but it was rumored that they went to these groups. Now, it very well might have happened because that type of a discussion would attract KKK because, they had their own thing going. But that doesn't mean that the meeting was about anything that the KKK was involved about. Oh, not the KKK. Yeah. You find where, okay, cool. So where was I at? So yeah, so this guy's going to these meetings. They're talking about guns. They're talking about rights, and he didn't pay this ticket. And so they decide that this man is a terrorist. I feel really bad saying this man because he has a name. And so the ATF loads up. They decide they're going to go up to Ruby Ridge and they're going to like siege this house like a militia is there. When in fact, it's just a wife and a husband and some kids and a dog. Well, they get up there. They kill the dogs. The kids are in the house. The man's in the house. He's already prior military, so his head's probably a little bit fucked up because I'm not supposed to say that word. I just said it. But I think he had, the Vietnam War was around that era. So he's been surrounded with men with guns. And so his wife goes to stand up because they had an infant in the house. And I think she was going to grab the baby or get a bottle or something like that. And the ATF, bam, right there, shot her. Or was it the back? Whatever it was, guts and blood splattered everywhere. Killed his freaking wife, right? All because he had guns and didn't show up in court for a traffic ticket. Well, this man was pissed. And at this time, it starts getting out that this guy is like going through this. And so all these Second Amendment people like surround the house, it's making national coverage. And you have any questions, Bam Bam?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Did you ever hear about this?
No.
All right. I'm like really into Ruby Ridge. It makes me sad that I can't remember his name. But so there was this negotiator, and it's like a hostage negotiator, but it was kind of something different because those weren't hostages. Those were his family. And he basically talked him down funny enough, now that you mentioned, there was another dude who saw this all happen. He saw the news. His name was Timothy Mcveigh. Yes, sir. Timothy Mcveigh was very much interested into the Ruby Ridge incident, and I actually think he went up there. And we are talking. And Timothy Mcveigh, for those of you who did not know, is the man that bombed the Pentagon. Was it the Pentagon, Joshua? He I don't think it was a Unabomber. He was some kind of bomber. It wasn't the Unabomber. It was something else. Did we almost have an intermission? Timothy Mcveigh bombed something, but that doesn't have anything to do with it. And so she's gonna Google it. He did. I don't have all of it memorized like the encyclopedia. The man just came up there to watch this. A lot of people came up there to watch it because they were interested in the Second Amendment. She's got it. And Timothy Mcveigh had something to do with Michigan too. So the negotiator, let's go back to the negotiator. The negotiator talked to the guy that was inside the house and was basically like, come out, blah, 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 blah.
He was the
Oklahoma City bomber. Timothy Mcveigh was the Oklahoma City bomber. Wasn't it the Pentagon that was there or no? Why do I hear laughing? My husband's up. It was something there. It was the Oklahoma City bombing. I guess it was not the freaking Pentagon. Is the Pentagon in Washington? Is that why it's so funny?
I think so.
Okay, it was some federal building. I don't know. Whatever. It's not the Pentagon, guys. So the negotiator talked this guy down. He came out, but like the damage had been done. They ended up killing one of his kids. They killed his dog. They killed his wife. And so they took this.
Sorry. It says that he did that because of the
Ruby Ridge.
Yeah.
So Timothy Mcveigh did the bombing because of Ruby Ridge. We're all over the place. So I hope you're following. Anyway, so they take him to jail, this man from Ruby Ridge, and he ends up getting out because what they did was really effed up. And the ATF effed up so freaking bad. They had no right to do any of that. And they knew that. And so, like, that guy ends up suing, like, civilly, and he wins, like, $1 million. But, I mean, like, what's $1 million when you watched your wife get her head exploded in front of you? Like, all this, the only thing that this man did was live off the grid and not pay a traffic ticket. Like, and he had some guns. That should scare you, just so you know. I know it was, like, in the 80s or whatever, but this is the kind of stuff that the government does. Okay, wait. Joshua's going in. All right. His name was Randy Weaver. Thank you, Joshua. The man from Ruby Ridge was Randy Weaver. The same guy who was in the shootout. And this was at the... Okay, he's got the Oklahoma City. The building is called Alfred P. Murat Federal Building. Joshua Vasquez, I feel like you know a lot about this, which is pretty cool. You're like a Second Amendment kind of libertarian guy. All right, so we're going to keep going. So we got this situation that just happened with Ruby Ridge. So there's a lot of spotlight on the ATF. Now, here in Waco, Texas, there's something going on. And let's talk about what's going on. So they have this big compound, right? And there's this man, his name, I watched a movie about it. You know, they have a really good movie on Netflix about Waco, Texas, and it actually is somewhat accurate. I recommend that everybody go watch it. It was a good watch. So let's go back to Waco, Texas. So they got this big compound, right? And there's a lot of people in there. And there's this man. His name is David Koresh. And David Koresh is such an interesting character. Let's talk about David Koresh, right? So David Koresh is like a younger, peppy guy. People said he was good looking. I didn't think he was all that good looking, but I guess, you know, out of all the crazy cult leaders out there, he probably was decent. A lot of people said Ted Bundy was good looking. And did you think he was good looking? All right. So David Koresh, he is got a guitar. He's all like gung-ho for Jesus. And it's something about the seals in the Bible, and he's figured it out. And he feels that he is the prophet for Jesus. Like he's like Jesus's prophet, and he knows how he's going to go to heaven, and he's the one who's going to lead all his children there. And so they have this compound, and it's in an area called Mount Carmel. All right, Joshua's going off. Let's see what he has to say. Which was the one the building is called, that's the one he bombed. I watched the movie about, wasn't he the dude who ran the church? Yes, David Koresh is the dude who ran the Branch Davidians. So at Mount Carmel, they had this big building, and David was like, okay, so Branch Davidians were around before David. David came in, and he was like, I'm going to be the tough guy that runs it. And there was like a showdown with another guy, and the other guy didn't win, and David won. And so he was the leader of the Branch Davidians. And so they had this big building, and like on the right-hand side of the building is where all the men slept. And where on the left-hand side is where all the women slept. And it's kind of up more, I guess. And then on top of where the women slept, guess who slept there? Guess who slept on top of the women's area? The dude, David Koresh. He slept there. Yes, he did. And so David decided that he was going to mess around with some of the rules. And here's the rules. Men should abstain from sex. Their wives can be their wives, but he could have any wife that he wanted to. So if you came to this cult church and you had a husband, and David could come up to you and basically be like, hey, so I had a dream last night, and God said that your wife is supposed to procreate with me and make one of my kids. So David had this like deal where he thought like he was supposed to create a group of his like little soldier babies. I know it's not called soldier babies. You're going to like Google it and be like, I don't see no soldier babies, Detroit Alley Cat. Well, no, I made that word up, people. And so he's making his own little soldiers. Don't say what. Yes, he thought he should have his own like group. So David Koresh ends up taking like, I don't know, somewhere between 12 to 15 wives. And he's got them all, and he's got every day of the week where he goes on up into his room, and he actually like, does the deed. But here's the thing that's funny with David Koresh. So he doesn't really have sex for the fun of it. He has sex so he can make his soldier babies. So this is where it starts getting a little rickety, if it wasn't already rickety first. Let's talk about the thing that attracted the ATF to the Branch Davidians. So David decides that one day the government is going to come from him, right? The government is going to come for him, his people. They're coming because the devil is in works. The devil is on the planet, and he's got things happening, and the devil does not like God people. So they need to protect themselves. So David's like, you know what? The best way to protect ourselves is to run out and get some ARs. What's an AR? A rifle. And so they get like a whole bunch of rifles. And if I'm not mistaken, they started to like do a little bit of dabbling of selling arms, and they stocked up on a whole bunch of guns, like a whole bunch of guns, and they had a lot of stuff. And so the ATF kind of catches wind of it, and the only reason the ATF finds out about it is because they're registering their rifles, which is what you're supposed to be doing. Now, here's the thing. Thank you, Joshua. He said an automatic rifle. AR. I think everybody thinks that like AR means automatic rifle, but I don't know. It doesn't matter. So, the ATF hears about these people that are buying all these guns. Now let's talk about Texas. Texas is interesting. I'm a gun dummy. Does that mean you don't know about guns, or does that mean you know a real lot about guns? So Texas is like all about guns. Like everybody should have a gun. Grandma should have a gun. Grandpa should have a gun. You should have a gun over here. Everybody has to have guns. That's just Texas. That's just the way it is. It's like normal for like 12-year-olds to go out into the woods with their dad with like a shotgun or a rifle and go hunting. That's like their culture there. And so it's not a big deal that this church has guns because, it's Texas. I personally wanted to move to Texas for a very long time. Bam Bam over here was like, hell no, I don't want to move to Texas. I was trying to figure out how I was going to tie her up and drug her and take her to Texas, but there's legalities involved in that kind of thing. And I don't know. So we didn't go to Texas. I want to go to Hawaii, but I guess there's really bad woo, Texas. There's really bad gun laws in Hawaii. Something about the Pineapple Wars, and you can't have guns, you can't own guns. I don't know. They're just bad. So we're not going to Hawaii. So let's go back to Texas. So these people are buying all these guns and stuff. And then David decides that he should have grenades. I would not want to have grenades in my house. I feel weird about it. I mean, if you really need to have something that explodes, you can like go ahead and make yourself a Molotov cocktail real quick. At least you don't have a grenade in the house. Because a grenade has a pin in it. And if the pin falls out, I don't know. It makes me nervous. Why grandes though? Or why grenades? I don't know. He just decided that he needed grenades. Did you spell grenades right? So this is what happened. He orders a bunch of these grenades, right? And so here's the funny part. I think it was UPS or FedEx or something. They go to deliver the package, and when they're delivering the package, out of the package rolls a grenade. Dun, 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 dun. And whoever the postal carrier was like, that's okay, Joshua, I forgive you. And so the postal carrier looked down at not Joshua Koresh. David Koresh looks up. They're both looking at the grenade. David's tucking that shit back in there, takes it. He's like, all right, we're good. Well, that postal carrier, that son of a, he decides he's going to go ahead and report that to the ATF, our friends that did all that BS at Ruby Ridge. Are you following me, Bam Bam? Do you got any questions?
Nope, I'm just listening.
Am I boring you?
No. I don't know stuff. So
I know stuff, but I'm winging it today. So I forgive you, or I forgive you guys. Got to forgive me. See, I'm saying effed up shit. So, and just so you know, I'm prior military, and I'm not going to say that's the only reason, but I swear like a sailor. I really do. Wow, that is really dumb for him to report. Yeah, postal carriers can be complete sometimes, and it really aggravates me. I'm going to take this moment to say, if you are tuning in, we would like you to stop and go ahead and give me a thumbs up, because it helps our algorithm. And if you find my gibberish about Second Amendment craziness amusing, we would appreciate if you went ahead and just subscribe, leave a comment, talk to us, tell us how you feel about me rambling. Now, where was I, Bam Bam?
The postal man reporting to the...
Yeah, so the postal man reported him. So the ATF, they get the word. They're like, can I put my arm here without you feeling like I'm being creepy? Does this look creepy?
It's fine.
I'm not doing it anymore now. So the ATF gets wind that there's a group over in Texas that have like rifles, they have grenades, they have other stuff too, like a whole bunch of stuff. I think they had a missile launcher, a couple of those. They had stuff. They had like an arms room, right? And so the ATF is like, oh my goodness, these people are Jesus following polygamists, and they got weapons. We gotta go stop them. Because why? I don't know, because they have to. I guess you have to have a special license or a stamp for some kind of for a grenade. It's a stamp. Like seriously. Hey, George is my friend. He stays here. Hey, what's that stamp you got to get for a grenade?
I don't think you can get a grenade even with a stamp.
Okay, you can't get a grenade with a stamp. So David wasn't supposed to have grenades. But what is that stamp? George?
An NFA stamp.
An NFA stamp. It costs $25. Why would you need that stamp? For missiles, I think. No,
You need it for silent cans. You would need it for automatic weapons.
For automatic weapons and silent cans, and when it gets more dangerous, you need the stamp. But I guess apparently the stamp would have done no good because you're not supposed to have grenades. I personally don't understand why, I guess I can see why the government is like, you can't have grenades, but you know damn well that you can make a grenade out of kitchen supplies. There's a book called The Anarchist Cookbook. It tells you how to make a whole lot of stuff. I don't even know if you can get that anymore. George, can you still get The Anarchist Cookbook, or did they take that off of print?
You're not allowed to take it off print because it's straight up a press, and yes, you can still get it.
It's not in a library though, right, George? Okay, so you can still get the Anarchist Cookbook, but I'm willing to bet they kind of moved it around and took out the good stuff. So the ATF decides they're going to round up the posse and go find out about them Branch Davidians, right? So meanwhile, Mr. David Koresh, he's like chilling at his compound. And you know what's really cool is they had the most beautiful Alaskan Malamutes. Like, beautiful. It's not going to go well for the Alaskan Malamutes. I'm just going to warn you right now, Bam Bam. I know that's going to upset you. But they had them outside so they could bark if someone was coming. And they did. And so, now, David Koresh and his telling everybody who he can have as a wife. That's going along a little controversial in the group. But here's where it gets a little bit more controversial. Wait, I'm going to see what Joshua has to say. He says at this point, they should use those weapons for the zombie apocalypse. They should. Or in other cases, they could have used it for something else. Are we talking about grenades? They did. Till they burnt the... You're not supposed to tell the end of the story. I tell the end of the story, Joshua. Hold tight, buddy. Hold tight. We're getting there. So where were we at? Oh, yeah. So he's picking out his wives, right? Which, you know what? Polygamy should not be illegal. You want to have 15 wives, go at it. If they want to be in a group of 15, what in the hell is it business of yours, right? I would like to see a woman have 15 husbands. For some reason, that hasn't happened. I would like to see that. Have you heard of that?
Mm-mm.
Wouldn't that be interesting?
I've heard of like girls having 2 boyfriends, and they
That's
all
just
know.
that triangle
Yeah.
poly bullshit. No. I'm talking about 15 husbands and 15 bedrooms, one woman sitting on top of the house, each of them going up there every other night. I have not seen that. Now, personally, I would not. What, George? India. They do not have 15 husbands.
2 or 3.
Okay, I've been told by George. We're going to call George the fact checker. All right. So I've been told by George that in India they have multiple husbands. I don't know if this is true. I will check it out. I find it very interesting. I forgive you, Joshua. So back to David Koresh in his polygamy haven. All is going well until he starts that he should start having relations or marrying 14-year-olds. And then I think there was a 12-year-old involved in there. Don't quote me. It was kind of young. The ATF kind of twisted it because they wanted to make it look like David Koresh was a real bad guy. Now, David Koresh was, I can't tell you if he was a good guy or a bad guy. I can tell you he was smart. I could tell you he was very smart. He was very charismatic. I heard stories about the kids getting beat. I've heard a lot of stories. But the problem is that you do not know what is the truth, because if you haven't learned from everything that's happened recently, the news lies. They don't tell the truth. And so you don't know what the truth is. Now, there is some members that have come up and said, you know, he did beat me and he did beat my kids and this stuff did happen. But we don't know what the real truth is, because sometimes those people get paid to say stuff like that, you know. And I'm not trying to say that I don't believe them. I'm just trying to say we gotta look at the big picture. The ATF just had a huge F up at the Ruby Ridge, and they're trying to make themselves look like good guys. So they're going to create this story that this monster is sleeping with all these little kids and he's got all these weapons, and like, so we don't know what the truth is, right? But what we do know is they decided that they were going to go in there and take it. So where are we at with Joshua? There were a few kids. Yeah, I know there were a couple 14-year-olds, and I do not believe in, you know, that's gross. Why would anybody want to have sex with a 14-year-old? Haha, that's like KGB. They made lice all the time. Like lice that's in your hair. Lies. All right, so they send out this agent, and this agent decides to live in the house next to the compound. And the agent starts to go over to the compound, and he starts like becoming their friend. And the agent actually starts liking them because, I mean, he says they're a bunch of nice people. This compound had people from all over the world, Australia, Hawaii, everywhere. And they were living in there because they believed in David Koresh. There are still people to this day, 2022, that believe that David Koresh really was the prophet. But, you know, and the amount of kids in there was just, there were a lot, you know, a lot. But they wanted this guy to go undercover and tell them where the arms room was and tell them what there was supposedly a bunker. But really what happened is they took a school bus and they like dug this big ass hole in the ground. They put the school bus in there and they covered the school bus with like the dirt. I don't know why anyone thought that would be a good bunker. That sounds like a death trap to me. People still believe that. Yes, Joshua, there are people that still believe in David Koresh and that he's going to come back when the horsemen come riding. This is crazy. You know, they made this horror movie called Red State. It's actually a pretty good movie, and it's kind of loosely based off of Waco, Texas. So we've got all these kids. We've got all these guns. We've got this agent that's living next door that's now become friends. Now, something funny is that David Koresh is liked by the people of Waco, Texas. He would go into town, go drink a beer. They would play their guitar because he was a rock and roll guy. Hi, Tier. Do you want to come in? Oh, you look so cute. Come on, Tier. Hold on. My girl's calling me. Come on. Talk to them, Bam.
Okay.
Do you guys want to see my baby? I'm going to show you my baby. Come here, Tearsy. Don't growl. This is our intermission, okay, guys? All right, here we go. This is my baby girl. Her name is Tyr. She's named after the Nordic god of war, which I don't know if that was such a great name because she's such a sweetheart. She's more like a Tasmanian devil. She's just like, rawr, rawr. Say hi, everybody. I'm so beautiful. She is a Malamute Shepherd mix. Right, Tyr? Okay, she wants down. She don't like this. All right, go lay down on the bed, Tyr. Oh, she wants back out there. I'll be right back, guys. Woo! Woo! That's probably...
Oh, Joshua said Tyr is his favorite god.
Oh, really? So you like Nordic gods too, huh? Okay. I hear my phone going off. I bet you it's Natasha Dean, Bulgarian spy, telling me I'm a jackass. All right. So the day comes, right? Oh, wait. I wasn't finished telling you. So what's his name? David Koresh. So David Koresh actually knew the sheriff at Waco. And the sheriff liked him because he was a nice guy. Now, these southern states, that was Southwest, I believe. These Southwest southern states, it don't really matter which side it's on. If they're in the South, they are all about God. They call it the Bible Belt. So to the people in Waco, Texas, these people just seem like God people. I mean, there were stories, but they felt like, well, one day we'll talk about Nordic gods. I like Vikings. So everybody kind of like was like, leave these people alone. Like in Texas, oh my God, it's not me.
She's still here.
Look, Natasha Dean, Bulgarian spy, is here. It's not me, but I know what it is, and you're going to have to ask me for clarification. Am I really about to work during the podcast? See, guys, this is what you got to deal with when you own a business. What clarification? Oh, good Lord. What color shoes? Y'all be killing me sometimes. I'm sorry, Joshua. I own a company and my employees are weird. So just ignore that. So, all right. We got this all figured out. David Koresh has got all the friends in Waco. He's got all his babies. It's not important, not at all. So he's got all his babies. He's got all of his wives. He's got all his ex-angry husbands of the wives, but they're not angry, or at least they're saying they're not angry. I don't know. All right. So all this stuff is going. It's cool, Natasha Dean, Bulgarian spy. And so the guy next door comes running over. He's like trying to see if like David knows if anything's up. And I don't remember exactly how, but I remember how he found out. So one of the other postal carriers was out doing his thing, like the regular one, the one that's always working his route, is doing his thing. And he saw this like news guy. And the news guy is like riding down the road, like a road that nobody ever goes down. And he stops the postal carrier and he's like, do you know where Mount Carmel is? Babies and wives continue. I will. Thank you. And so the postal carrier is like, why do you want to go to Mount Carmel? And the effing guy who's going to do this. What is that? You know. Ladies and gentlemen, what do you think about that? The newscaster. The newscaster was like, there's about to be this big crazy stuff. And so the postal guy went down to Ranch Davidian. I see someone else like went ahead, scouting, and went ahead and like tuned in. Stop what you're doing. Drop your drawers. I'm joking. And go ahead and take that thumb and like it right now. And so back to what we're doing. Okay. So, so the postal guy goes up there to Mount Carmel and he goes and gets David and he's like, they're coming. And so, of course, David was like, oh my God, the reckoning is here. It's the day of the day. And so, like, you know, they're all getting ready. They're getting ready. And so at this point, the guy from next door is over there trying to watch to see what happens. And he realizes that, you know, David Koresh knows that these dumbass ATF people. Can you hold on real quick? I'm recording all of you. Okay. I am recording you. All right. So back to Waco. So the guy was like, you know, they're coming. Or no, the guy saw that David was freaking out. So he goes next door and he calls the ATF and he is like, dude, you got to call it off. They know you're coming. Call it off. But the ATF is like, no, man, we're coming down. So they got their helicopter. They decide that they're going to load up all these like people with guns and put them in these cattle carriers because then that don't look suspicious. But the helicopter is totally normal. So they go down there and like they surround the building and they're like, we're here. And David comes out and he's like, hey, there's women and babies in here. And they just shot him. Now, the ATF says that it was the Davidians that shot first. But how is it the Davidians shot first if David was outside trying to tell him to, like, chill the fuck out? So David Koresh is shot. And Natasha Dean. Bam Bam looks suspicious right now. She always looks suspicious. I'm going to have a water. You know, we should start drinking wine while we do this. Josh, they didn't shoot kids yet. David is telling him to not do that. He's like, don't come in here shooting. But the ATF was like, fuck that. We're doing it. So David runs back in. He tells them, like, everybody get your guns. And so the Davidians, who have been training to do assault for a long ass time. You got any questions, Bam Bam?
No.
She's been quiet this whole time, hasn't she? Next time I'll make her talk about it. And so I will. I'll pick something you know about. So then, you know, they got their guns, and these Davidians, they're like Texans. Texans are badass. They actually know how to shoot guns, and they're good at it. And so all these ATF people are coming, and they're shooting, and the Davidians start shooting. The comment delays makes my jokes bad. Your jokes are always bad, Natasha
She's
Dean.
probably talking about when she was over there. I was looking at her.
Oh.
She was making faces at me.
Oh, she was making faces at you.
Mm-hmm.
How is she making? Oh, Chelsea was not Natasha Dean. We're trying to confuse you here. Okay, so let's go back. All right, so the Waco people are like, and then the ATF people are like, and so the ATF people, they get their asses handed to them, right? But they kill a lot of people. So there's like video of like, and correct. Okay, well, you're correct. I'll stop. Okay, no, I don't want you to stop, Natasha Dean, Bulgarian spy. It's rumored that Natasha Dean is actually the last of the Romanov dynasty. You know that missing princess? What's her name?
I don't know.
The missing princess. George! Who is the missing princess from Russia? Anastasia. It's rumored Natasha Dean, Bulgarian princess. She's really Anastasia. I know the missing princess. Well, I know her too, because George, the fact checker, told us. All right, so David calls his mom. His mom doesn't pick up. David's like, "Hey, mom, they're trying to kill us, but that's cool because I'm going to heaven and I'll see you there." And so then, that starts a 45-day long, like, what is it called? I know you're not going to tell me, are you?
Battle?
No, it's not a battle. It's like this standoff. A 45-day standoff. And that's why they made a Disney movie about you. So you got the ATF over here, and you got the Davidians over there. They're just kind of like standing off. There's a negotiator. He ends up, siege. It's not a siege yet. It's a standoff because they already had the siege. Bunch of ATF people got killed. Bunch of Davidians got effed up. So they're negotiating, give me some of those babies and we can make this work. And David is like, but I can't do anything until the 7th seal is broken and that we can enter heaven. So for 45 days, they do this. And some of the kids get given back and they talk. And then there's this really crazy general or some dude that's really crazy that comes to the ATF. So the negotiator's like, I've almost got them to decide to give up. And this crazy dude that works for the ATF, he's like, no, we need to go in there and we need to put white incinerary inside there, tear gas, which is actually, it makes things light on fire. He's like, we're going to do tear gas. We're going to get them all. We're going to save all the babies. And this negotiator's like, don't do it. Don't do it. And then, so then the negotiator gets David to say hey, we want to go ahead and do this. We're going to give up. Just let me break the last seal and write about it. The last testament in the Bible. So, David's having one of his wives who's got one of her fingers hanging off of her hand, all bloody and stuff, write the seal, right? And so this crazy dude from the ATF, he's like, that's it. I don't give a shit about no goddamn seal. We're going to just go ahead and we're going in there. I probably lost so many subscribers because of my language today. I apologize, guys. And so the ATF guy, he gets this big tank. He rolls right over one of David Koresh's fancy cars. And then he takes that long gun part of the tank and they smash it through the wall and they shoot all that gas in there. And the babies are because they don't have gas masks that fit them. And so they shove them in a refrigerator because that's where they can save them. Some people go into that school bus. The whole thing lights up in fire. And I think almost all of the Branch Davidians died. The kids, everyone. I think there was maybe 10, 12 people that survived. And so the ATF is trying to okay, we gotta go backwards. Oh, okay. Now this right here is dumb putting flammable chemicals in the building. Yes, it was extremely dumb. Where the kids stayed. The kids, they put them in the refrigerator. The refrigerator wasn't on because they cut off the electric and they thought that would be the safest place. But they ended up suffocating because, it's a big ass refrigerator. So when they shut it, and so David's dead. David ended up dying because he had a bullet hole right there. So they're guessing that he had his friend shoot him in the head or something like that. But then the ATF was like, okay, guys, this is the reason all this went down and it wasn't our fault. And, this was all of their fault. Now that I told the whole story and everybody laughed because they didn't like my story, let's discuss where it went wrong. So why was it the business of the ATF to go in there and do what they did. So, yes, he had grenades. Yes, there were stories of child abuse. And yes, there was polygamy. Now, I feel personally they should have just came up there and talked to them. Like, why was it necessary for all of that craziness? They should have came up to the building, knocked on the door, checked on the kids, discussed the grenade situation. I mean, I know that that's probably dangerous, but I don't know. I just have this feeling that they wouldn't have it would have been well received. And not only that, the thing that really bothers me is David used to go to town all the time. Why didn't they just wait for David to go to town and stop him and what is it called when they not arrest him but to detain him, to question him while he's away from the compound? And now we've got this situation where all these people that are innocent are dead because the ATF just screwed the whole effing thing up. And basically, that is the story of Waco, Texas. And it's kind of screwed up because, there's just a lot of dead people. And right now in Waco, you can go to Mount Carmel and they still have the building right there, like the bottom part of the building, so you can go see it. And they have a memorial. And what's even crazier, do you realize I didn't even have to look at anything to tell this story? Mm-hmm. Now you can open right next door is a church. And you go over there and it's the leftover group of Branch Davidians carrying on. I mean, they don't live there. It's not like a compound or anything. So that's what happened. All right, let's see what Joshua Vasquez said. Wow, I can't believe the peeps left. Exactly why they didn't leave yet to find him. Or why didn't he leave and go find him? I don't know. These are questions that, why did they handle it that way? Especially with Ruby Ridge happening in the way that it did. Why didn't they figure out a better way of handling a situation like this? Just going into somebody's home and demanding or just shooting. They went there and just started shooting, and there's all these innocent people there. They're the ATF. They should be able to figure out how to handle this situation better than that. I mean, that's what they trained to do. Do you have any questions for me, Bam Bam?
Yeah, I have a weird one.
Okay.
What exactly is the ATF?
The ATF is the alcohol. Okay. And that doesn't even get edited out. Alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. So if you're selling alcohol illegally, tobacco sometimes gets sold illegally, firearms, people.
So are they their own
federal? They're a federal. They're their own federal law enforcement.
And so they have a whole team of kind of like SWAT.
Yes, they're kind of like SWAT, except they deal mostly in alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. Notice nowhere in there did I say child abuse, polygamy. So the only thing that they should have been going over there for was the grenades. And I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but somebody else should have been involved in all that other stuff. But instead, the ATF decided to act like frat boys from a party instead of being serious. Exactly. So they showed up. They did what they thought, what they should do, even though the negotiator had David Koresh almost saying he was going to come out and everyone was going to be safe. David Koresh even told everybody in the compound, hey, just let me finish this testament in the Bible, and then we will leave. And the ATF knew that he said that. I mean, I don't care if you think that that's crazy or not. The fact of the matter is there were kids inside that building, and he said that he was going to come out if they would just let him finish that last testament in his little bookie thing, the Bible. I'm so sorry for all the Christians. I don't mean to call it a little bookie thing. But that's what they did. They just said, F it, man. We don't give a shit. And they did. They killed all those people. And all those people, like, the thing is that a lot of people talked about Ruby Ridge being like, white supremacists and stuff like this. And then you go over to Waco, and Waco had every color of the rainbow in that building. They were from all over the world. So it had nothing to do with that. It was not anything to do with the KKK or anything. It was just literally the government sticking their nose in people's business. And I mean, I understand grenades, whatever, but like, honestly, if you have like just a little bit of common sense, you would know how to, like, and if you wanted to, you can build a grenade. So why is it like, I mean, I know that's like a very controversial statement to say, like, why should we care if people have grenades? But like, look at the Ukraine and Russia right now. So Russia is going in right now, right? And the Ukraine is sitting there. We're talking about normal people, like regular citizens, just sitting there making Molotov cocktails. You can see them from the huge. And a Molotov cocktail, that does some damage. So like, where there is a will, there is a way. And like, I don't know. I just feel like the government goes too far and they just F stuff up, and it's hard to say what should have been done, but I just don't think what was done should have been done. It was the wrong way. Okay, well, let's see what Joshua said. Instead, the ATF, yeah, I don't believe it was crazy. I think it was all true. Don't worry. I mean, you don't go to church as much. I think the ATF got shut down decades after, but they're still around. No, the ATF is definitely still around, but I don't think they have the power that they used to have, because I don't know. That's something that we would have to talk about another day. But I wanted to basically tell the story of Waco, Texas. And I mean, I left a lot of stuff out. There's so much stuff to talk about, like the victims, what happened to David Koresh beforehand, him being in the Branch Davidian, his relationships, the people that were there, the people that ended up going to jail, getting out of jail. There was a lot of stuff that, I missed, but I kind of gave the big chunk of it so you guys would kind of get it. Do you have any questions?
No, I don't think so.
There is much detail. Well, okay, guys. So that's the story of Waco, Texas, or at least part of it. And you want to know one fun fact before I let you go? I don't know how far away Houston is from Waco, but Beyonce's mother, Tina Knowles, she always throws her big, what do they call them, galas at Waco, Texas. And I just think that's kind of crazy. I just do. I think that's a weird coincidence. All right, guys. Thank you. It was extremely sad. There's so much more in that story that was so tragic that I did not talk about because it's hard for me to talk about. But thank you so much for watching this. I appreciate all of you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Please don't forget to like that. Please don't forget to subscribe. Everything counts. And as always, stay spooky and stay safe. Come on, you do it too, like we're in hula dancing. Bye, guys.